Hello, everybody. Welcome to First Attack. And today we're going to do something a little different. We're probably going to have like a blending of First Attack Level 3 focus, but the main thing that we want to do is go over everything Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown, because this game is coming out later on this week, and we have with us a very special guest today. This is Gerald Abraham, aka LA Akira, who, I mean, in your own words, would you say you're the best Virtua Fighter player in the country?
Absolutely not.
Well, he's the best Virtua Fighter player in the country. No, he's actually really good. He's been playing Virtua Fighter for a long time. We were just talking about this before we started. You know, I actually tried playing Virtua Fighter 2 with Gerald a long time ago, and he was trying to teach me to play back then, and none of us really knew how to play the game, but, you know, just throughout the years, you've never left the Virtua Fighter scene, right? You've just kept playing the game.
Well, that's not entirely true. From like I mentioned before, you know, around between '97 and 2007, I just actually took a hiatus from like games in general, working on other stuff. But I mean, other than that, you know, from all of 5, you know, the entire life of VF5 and you know, Virtua Fighter 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
You know, I was totally into it, and you know, even during the time I wasn't playing, I always thought it was a great game. So.
Okay, cool. Just so everyone's clear on this, I know Virtua Fighter 5 came out, and there's been multiple versions of the game, right?
Right.
Like, so what's the history of Virtua Fighter 5 at this point?
Well, we Virtua Fighter 5, and we just call it vanilla now, obviously.
Right.
You know, so I mean, anytime somebody talks about like VF5, we just call it vanilla, you know,
Right,
because now we
right.
got like Final
Makes
Showdown,
sense,
right? So I think it was 2009 in Japan they released Virtua Fighter 5R.
Okay.
Right, which was basically rebalanced. They added Jean Kujo and Takarashi back, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah, but and then you know, a lot of us were just dying to get a hold of the game. You know, it's because they didn't actually release that
Right.
because if you look at the history of Virtua Fighter 4, there was Virtua Fighter 4, Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution, and then Virtua Fighter 4 Final Tuned.
Right.
And Final
Yeah.
Tuned is, you know, that's like yeah, as far as everybody's concerned, that's like, you know, the you know, ultimate version of 4.
Gotcha.
Well, it really depends on the person, but you know, for the most part. And then, you know, for the consoles, they released Evolution. You know, they only released
Right,
Evolution.
right,
So
right.
you know, there were a lot of people that were like, okay, well, you know, we didn't get Final Tune, so I think what Sega did this time is they skipped over R and they gave us a Final Showdown instead.
Gotcha. So there was a Virtua Fighter R and then Final Showdown.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys have been fighting for like the most updated version for a long
yeah,
time,
yeah.
right? And
Quite a
so
while.
and now, I mean, I think this is like the best way it could possibly be released for those of you guys who don't know. It's coming out this week on Xbox Live Arcade and PSN. And it's just going to be $15 for
Yeah.
the full game. The entire game is there, and I mean, Sega was nice enough to give me and David an early copy,
Yeah.
and so I messed with it a little bit yesterday, and just the features. I mean, this is a full game. You get everything.
Oh, you
The
get
training mode, everything is in this for $15, which is just ridiculous. So,
Yeah.
and obviously, since I've tried playing this game since VF2, I've always had like a huge respect for this game. You know, I really like Virtua Fighter as a series. And so it's really exciting for me to actually try to, you know, have the opportunity to try to teach a lot of people how to play this game and such. Because I have the same problem as anyone else. Just so everybody knows, I've barely ever touched 5. I'm just as intimidated by this game as everybody else,
Sure.
you
Yeah.
know. And one of the hardest things is that one of the strongest selling points of Virtua Fighter is that it's technical and it's complex and
Right.
it's really hardcore, right? But I think what that accidentally does is it gets everyone kind of scared to play the
I
game.
totally agree, you know.
Right.
I totally agree.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this because like James, I haven't really played since VF2 or a little bit of VF3, and that was only in the arcades and just kind of casually. I didn't
Right.
take it very seriously. So I'm sure there's a ton of stuff even back then that I didn't know about, and you know, I've heard about the same reputation that it's difficult to learn, and I know that one of the big reasons that you wanted to come on and talk was to kind of dispel that and to talk about instead how simple it can be.
Yeah, it's exactly the case. I mean, it can get very complicated and it, like, you know, like a very, very high level. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on maybe behind the scenes, but it doesn't always have to be like that, you know? I mean, it could be very simple. I mean, you think about the game, I mean, it's basically advantage and disadvantage in controlling that. So, again, like I said, I mean, maybe we'll talk about some more little advanced stuff later on. But I'd really like to start off with just showing like really really basic stuff.
Yep.
So if somebody that's never played the game is interested, or maybe somebody's played it before and they're like, well, I don't know, maybe I'll try it out. It's like maybe just give them like a little bit so they actually do try it out.
Yeah, because it was really interesting. I mean, before we get into this, like we were having a conversation just over, I think it was Yahoo Messenger or something like that. We were just talking online, and I was just like, oh my god, this game is so complicated. And you're like, no, it works like this. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
But then there's this problem. You're like, no, not at all. And I was like, huh. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of, I feel like a lot of myths that a lot of people are. And I can't seem to get any game noise right now. Can anyone hear any game noise?
Well, I turned down this. Do you want me to turn this back up?
Oh, okay. Here we go. Yeah, you're right.
Do you want me to turn it back
no,
up?
it's good. It's good
Okay.
actually. So you're okay if we don't hear the game noise here, right?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Okay. So what we're gonna do here, let me go ahead and switch over to the game here. So here we go. This is the game here. I've already gone into the main menu. You see all sorts of features here. Like I said yesterday, I messed with the training mode, and I just said on Twitter, I felt like there was like angel choirs singing to me because
They've always had a great training mode.
once you start seeing the features that they have in this, it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I mean, seriously, it's so cool. It's so cool. But we'll go into free training mode first because I just want to go ahead and start trying to teach people like some of the basic stuff here. Of course, I'm gonna go with Wolf just because that's the character I always.
You used Wolf? I used Wolf.
Dude, because I was a Zangief player back then.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right? And you were a Zangief player back then.
That's
so,
true.
of course, we're going to go ending up with Wolf, right?
Okay, fine.
Now, who do you think is a good character for people to start with to learn this game here?
Well, I mean, Jean, who's one of the is a new character in Final Showdown. He's actually a very good character to start learning the game with, because his game is based all around fundamentals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
absolutely.
So I will pick. You call him Jean or Jean?
Jean.
Jean, okay. There's a lot of French characters in this
Yeah.
game, isn't there?
Well, I guess two is a lot.
Yeah, aren't there
you know?
two French characters? Yeah.
Well, they got a lot of Americans. They got more than French characters.
Yeah, come on.
I guess that's true.
They even got a Canadian in there.
Fair enough. Obviously, one of the nice things about Virtua Fighter is all the stages are very different from each other. You have some with ring outs, some of them with no ring outs and such. What would be a good stage to go to just to practice?
I would say just training room.
Just training room?
Yeah.
Where's
It's
that? Oh, right here.
yeah, right there.
Okay. Cool. So, let's just get down to, the nitty gritty here. Everyone always says this game is complicated, and a lot of the times it comes down to because your characters have, a ton of moves. Like, how many moves would you say each character has?
It really depends on the character. I mean, some have more than others. I think Shin and Vanessa have the most. But some character like Wolf or Jackie don't really have all that many. I mean, they do have quite a few moves.
Right.
But again, I mean, you don't have to use every single move that's there.
Right.
That's just there as options. And you look at it as like, the way I like to look at it is like maybe like martial arts, right? Mm-hmm. So like you might go to like a dojo and learn like, a million things. And what you actually really use in a fight, it could be just a very small amount of those attacks. You know? I mean,
it's almost better just to kind of focus on the really core moves first, and then start learning all the little.
Yeah.
I mean, it's even like Street Fighter, right? I mean, how many of us really know like uses for example, like Cammy's straight up jumping fierce or something like that?
Right.
But as you keep playing the game, you'll find that one or two rare places where it's useful, right? And by the way, check out how cool that was when I did this. Gerald didn't touch the controller at all, by the way. That's the computer. That's the training mode. They just follow you to help you. Like that's actually one of the options you can pick.
Oh, but you can turn that off.
Yeah, you can turn that
cool.
off. You can turn that off. So you can actually do. It's really cool. There's so many options in here. But okay, so let's start with the very basics of controls, right? We have 3 buttons.
Right.
That's kind of interesting because you have this game with a ton of moves, but all you have is guard, punch, and kick.
That's right.
And you can get all these moves out of there. So, what would you recommend as a means by which you can memorize moves in this game? Because obviously that's going to be kind of one of the situations where people are going to have to start memorizing moves, right?
Right. My advice to like a new player, if you're new to VF, is go first of all before you do anything. pick the character you like. Don't if somebody says, "Oh, you shouldn't play that character; it's too complex or whatever," and just pick who you like. Just that's all there should be to it. In Street Fighter 2 in '92, or was it '91 when Street Fighter 2 came out? I saw like the game on test. I saw Guile. Oh, that character looks cool. That's the first character I picked, and that's the character I stuck with. But again, it's because I thought he looked cool. That's it.
Right.
Generally, I think after you do that, go through training, and write down, or maybe just maybe take a mental note of maybe some moves you like or you think that might be useful. And just stick with maybe 5 or 6 moves to start with. You don't have to go through every move and write down every single move and memorize every single move. Right. It's grab a move that's maybe okay, let's say for example I'm Jean. I gotta reset my buttons. Yeah.
Controls. So, how do I set you?
I
have to do it.
Yeah, he probably has to do it.
Yeah, that's right.
You just go back. Yeah. So I think let's figure this out. This might take a moment.
No problem.
Okay,
So look at that. They've got a cool button test there too.
Okay.
But that's not setting it.
That's not setting it, but it's just showing you what you're hitting.
So kick and.
Okay. So yeah, I see.
Yeah, so you can actually see what you're hitting, which is really cool. So. And shout outs to North of South. I like. He commented on there that this game has 50% more buttons than dive kick.
I guess, yeah. and dive kick manages to be pretty strategic.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, again, let me just figure this out real quick.
That's cool.
You guys
Well, I mean, there is the joystick option at the top, right? I mean, one of the options up there, that's what I have set. So what I have set right now on my joystick here, if you're looking at my joystick right here, I actually have it set up so that A is guard, X and Y are punch and kick. So I'm using these 3 buttons like this. So if you can see on stream, I'm using these 3 buttons here like this. This is kind of the standard joystick usage here because guard is always accessible by your thumb, and then punch and kick are very easily accessible with the other 2 fingers. Obviously, there's all sorts of different ways. In the arcade, the buttons are kind of in a line. It's like the SNK settings missing one of the buttons, missing B, right?
I saw them like that, and then I also saw them kind of more of a line.
Right,
It would just
like
seem
this,
variation.
so that you can actually play with all 3 of your fingers like this.
Yeah.
On the pad, obviously, it's going to be different how you wanted to have it set up, but...
So anyways, I think we're talking about moves, good moves or whatnot. Okay, for example, for Jean, his main bread and butter from mid-range is forward punch. He's got this lunge punch move, right? So that's really strong from the mid-range game, and it actually creates a special stagger. We'll talk about that later, but that's maybe one move I would probably like to use. Another one is back forward K plus G, which is gives you a stagger if it hits, right?
Okay.
So if you're ducking and guarding, I'll get a stagger off of it, right?
Okay.
So at that point, when you get a stagger, you have to hold guard and then just try to shake out of it. But then I could make you guess either a throw or an attack or whatever.
Right.
Was that select?
Yeah, that was select. You could just reset
just
back
wanna
to
hit.
the... Yeah, sorry.
Another move I probably really like with him is forward and kick, which is a launcher. It'll launch your opponent into the air.
Gotcha.
So, and then obviously for just standard Virtua Fighter, punch plus guard, that'll throw the opponent.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
So here's the thing, right? I mean, this is obviously a 3D game, so we've got high attacks, mid attacks, and low attacks, right? So you see when I hit him, there's a high, there's mid, and then there's low.
Yep.
So high attacks essentially are anything that can be crouched under.
Exactly.
Right.
So if I press this is a just standard punch. I'm just pressing P.
Right.
And you could just your move will just whiff. My move will just whiff. And if I do a mid, well, I'm just pressing K. John's mid kick just happens to, or John's kick just happens to be a mid.
Oh, really?
That's not like that for every character. Like if you press it for Wolf,
right,
you see it goes it's a high.
Right.
So that's just something unique to him.
Okay.
Again, mid attacks.
I have to stand block mid attacks, right?
Exactly. So if I go forward and punch, which is his elbow class move, right? If you're ducking, I'm gonna hit you, even if you're guarding. It doesn't matter. Right. But if you're standing up and guarding, you're gonna block.
Right. Now, and then of course low attacks, you have to low guard those, right?
Can you jump? Can you jump?
Yeah, you could hold guard and press any of the the up, either up or up towards or up
nice.
back. Yeah, and the jumps are a lot faster than VF5, and
There's no more takeoff
Yeah.
kick Jeffrey.
no more. Yeah, it's all
See,
gone.
in Virtua Fighter 2, you could like
remember that.
jump and kick. It was an overhead too, and there was one guy that played at our arcade that we nicknamed Takeoff Kick Jeffrey because that's all he would do, and he would just destroy me all day.
So
It
are
made me
are
sad.
jumps useful for getting
Oh, yeah.
over lows? Or for anything, I guess?
Absolutely, they're
Okay.
definitely useful. You could do like a lot of really good wake-up games with jumping attacks, just jumping kick over like low rising attacks or whatnot.
gotcha.
Or some characters have like John doesn't, but if you do that
Yeah.
with Wolf,
Yeah, he's got
yeah,
this low one
exactly,
right here.
which will cause a stagger. So
Nice.
depending on the character, I mean, you've got like different options. I mean, obviously you got to like whoever you like, you're gonna have to like figure out what they can do. But
Right.
yeah, they're definitely useful.
Okay.
So here's another question. I mean, so a good way to start, pick a few good moves that you like. So for example, with Jeffrey, I might find with Wolf, I'll find this move is pretty good.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
definitely
like
good.
this move is really good, right?
I'll show you one that's even better.
And like, what's the move that I remember seeing? There was one move that I remember I saw that looked really good. I can't remember what it was, but in any case, you find some good moves. Now, obviously, one of the things that makes 3D games intimidating, even for players who are trying to go to Tekken or Soul Calibur, is this idea of this high-low mix-up game
Right.
that it's really scary to guard and defend. And
Right.
you just feel like in Street Fighter I can do this and I'm safe from like 90% of the
Sure.
attacks, right? So, how can people get into this game and feel comfortable guarding against, like I said, I've got low attacks, and mid attacks, and
Right.
I've got high attack. Oh, that's a mid, okay,
Yeah.
but I've got high attacks.
Right.
How do I get to the point where, how do you help a person getting into the game feel comfortable with the defense aspect of the game?
Well, the first thing I would say is don't worry about low moves too much.
Okay.
Because number one, they're not going to take off much energy, and most of them, not all of them, but most of them will actually leave the opponent at advantage.
Oh, really?
Even if they hit on a normal hit. So turn on your detailed stats.
Okay, yeah, so I was going to say that,
Yeah.
but let's do it now.
Yeah.
Detailed stats.
There's in game.
Oh, yeah.
Frame data right
Yeah,
there.
I've seen it.
Frame data
It's
is in the screen, so he's just showing. It says
So cool.
exactly. Dude,
Right.
it's
So see, watch. I'm hitting you,
Uh huh.
and you look at your advantage. You're +6.
Oh, that's my advantage. That's right. That's right. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Gotcha.
So if I'm just sitting here all day, you could just go forward and P. Wait for the there you go. Just
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Gotcha. Okay. Before we go on, so obviously in
That's
Street
really cool, I
in,
gotta say.
in Street Fighter, the mindset is that you generally an attack that's 3 frames negative is bad, can be punished. Like if you're -3, you're punishable because the fastest moves in general are 3 frames, right? In this game, the fastest move is standing punch, right?
Yep.
And it's 12 frames.
For most characters,
Okay.
some of the characters have an 11 frame punch,
Okay. Okay.
and one character actually has a very, very short range, like almost like T-Rex range, 10 frame punch.
T-Rex range.
Yeah,
I like
so-
that.
Who is
Okay.
that?
Vanessa.
So-
I'm not sure if it's still 10 frames. It might still be, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So block for a second, just block for a second. So in other words, if I do a move and I'm -4, so anything -11 in general, so basically a -10 and lower is you can block the fastest counter
Yeah,
in the game,
absolutely.
right?
There's no, I mean, we call that guaranteed damage.
Right.
And guaranteed damage generally starts at 11 or 12.
Right. So even that kick right there, I'm safe.
Yeah,
Right.
you're
I'm
safe.
safe.
So watch, just block after you do it.
Right.
So
But
I
the-
can't hit you.
Right. But obviously the problem is that I'm -9, so I am super at the defensive now.
Right.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I don't want to get too in depth with this part,
Right.
but let's say for a situation like that where you're at -9, I'm not going to say why right now. We'll get into the depth later, but I would probably want to make you either guess a throw or like a mid attack. You know, so if you're at a medium disadvantage, I would say, not really a heavy disadvantage, but at a medium disadvantage, I would want to make you guess either my launcher or like a throw.
Oh, interesting. Gotcha. Now, speaking of throws, just because we're on the topic here, throws cannot grab crouching people, right? And not only that, but you literally cannot throw a character who is in the middle of a move,
Nope.
right? So if your throw is about to connect and I hit punch,
Yep.
the 1 frame before the throw connects, I will punch you, right?
Absolutely.
So try
Huh.
it.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That was here. Here's a good, better way to set it up. Just do forward and punch, and then I'll try to like throw you afterwards.
Okay.
See?
Interesting.
See, I can't do it.
Right. That's awesome. And by the way, just so I can tell you the angel singing thing that I ran into yesterday, everything that Gerald's doing right now, trying to counter me with punches or throws, you can make the dummy do that. That is actually an option to make them block your attack and counter with punch. Block your attack, counter with low punch, or block your attack and counter with a throw. It is, I mean,
That's pretty sweet.
it is like
Oh, look at that.
normal or counter here. Back. Oh yeah, they can make it so that every time you touch a button, they backdash automatically. Every time you touch a button, they sidestep one direction or the other. They can block, and then attack. You know, dude, there's so... See, here.
Yeah.
Block, and then they'll counterattack.
Right.
Block, and then they'll down punch. Block, and then they'll try a mid-attack. Block, and then they'll try a throw. And you can choose which direction they throw
Yeah.
and stuff.
And go to Garden Counterattack 5. This is the really useful one. Well, I mean, they're all really useful, but here it's either a throw or a mid. Remember how it's just saying, a situation where like I want to set you up where I could force you to guess either a throw or a big move.
Right.
This is how you could practice against that.
Huh.
Dude, that's so cool. Okay, anyway, that's just, to me, I just think that was so cool.
That is really cool,
I
I
was
gotta
messing
say.
with that last night. I was just sitting here and just touching buttons and having the computer try to punch me
Yeah.
back. Now, the interesting thing that I noticed, though, was that most moves are actually safe on
Right.
block.
Right. I mean,
Right.
it depends on. I mean, I would say the majority of moves are pretty safe. It's generally like the big, like meaty moves where like you're gonna have to, you might have like some disadvantage where they can get like a guaranteed counter.
Right.
Right.
So here's the question, like block, for example. Like I have crazy stand.
Oh, you have to give back.
Oh,
it's
that's
on
right.
yeah,
CPU.
that's right.
You're not on human anymore. You are no longer human.
There you go.
Okay, so if you block and I hit kick like this, say I'm just -4, right?
Yeah.
Or if I do a mid kick, like I said, I'm -9, right? So technically speaking, it feels like I can just kind of attack willy-nilly here and you can't counter me. So what's the general concept between this? Why is it that... Because in Street Fighter, obviously, if you find a safe move like a Chun-Li strong, you're
Right.
just like, Chun-Li strong,
Right,
you know,
right.
like this all day. So, I mean, in general, what's preventing that from happening in this game if everything's kind of safe?
Well, for example, if you do that again, just one time, and then I see that I know you've got disadvantage after that, I could just hit you back with a mid, and if you tried to attack, let's not use that as an example. Use down towards and punch.
That move,
That
right?
move,
Okay.
yeah. So you're -4, and then after I guard that, I'm gonna try. If I think you're gonna attack again, then I'm just gonna do my fast mid, and it's gonna beat out yours because I'm ahead on frames. So
Gotcha.
if you want to try it,
So do that same move twice.
yeah,
then
just
basically-
try to do it. Just try to spam it. You'll get hit every
okay.
single time.
So
Gotcha.
what's
I'll beat yours out every single time. it
so
does
what's
it.
your incentive to not press a button in that situation?
What do you mean?
I mean, why would you not press a button? I guess.
So after you block my move, why
Right.
would you not counterattack?
Because if you're one example is like if you're trying to like bait me to like get the advantage back, you know what I mean. So let's say for example, this is a really simple example, but like after let's say all I'm gonna do is just like try to hit you back with like a knee, and let's say like Jean's knee is a pretty high like disadvantage, right?
Okay.
So after it's like guarded,
Oh, yeah,
so
like that.
if
Right.
you bait me to like do that move, let's say I think you're gonna try to like attack afterwards, right? But you don't. So you just do one and guard, right?
Okay.
Right. So now you have plus 15 on
And I
me.
can punish you.
Yeah,
right?
and you could punish me.
Right. So why wouldn't you attack with just like the fastest thing,
Right,
like
exactly.
jab or something?
You can. You could definitely do that. But now we go back to like standard Virtua Fighter. If I do like standing jab, do that, and then just do duck punch afterwards. See? Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So
yeah.
you
right.
counter hit me.
Right.
Gotcha.
Because it depends on where they are.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right.
So a mid will a low punch will not beat a mid. A mid always beats a low punch if you've got the frames or if you're equal.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mid will always beat a low attack.
If you have equal frames or if you're higher, if you've got the advantage.
Is it always beats low punch? in
Yes.
gen-
So
Oh,
if you
okay,
low punch
okay.
twice, just low punch again. See?
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
When it said advantage, when you did this big kick that was the launcher, it said plus 15, but it was yellow. Does
Right.
yellow mean that?
Yeah, that means
you can hit.
It's well,
punish, I guess.
I think it's just like the degree of like how heavy it is. Because I've seen some moves that leave you in stance. I've seen something like -62 or something like that.
Oh,
yeah, so
Dang, that's crazy.
and that actually turns orange. So
Wow, all right.
I haven't seen a red yet. You know, maybe
Yeah.
it's like -5,000 or something. Who knows?
That's crazy.
Nice,
All
nice.
right.
Okay. So, I mean, at this point then, okay, so a good way to start this game, find some good moves that you like. And this will actually tell you a really good way. If you set the computer to block, you can find out what moves are good. See, -4. So this is -9, so maybe might not want to use that as much. What was that? There was that move right there, which is -4, which looks pretty good.
It's really strong, actually. That's
Okay.
actually one of Wolf's strongest moves from mid-range and from in VF5. It was really strong because it would give you a stagger, and then you could set up a wake-up game on it.
Gotcha.
So let's say if you do that, and then you get a stagger, and then you run up and either throw me or do it again. You know,
Gotcha.
it's pretty nasty. It pushes him quite a ways back, so it's fairly safe.
Right, right.
So in picking moves, the ones that you highlighted for Jean were one that had fast startup that controlled mid-range,
Right.
and then one that launched presumably into big damage, I
Right.
guess, and then a low or something. Like,
You could use a low.
I mean, I guess what are the criteria for picking moves that you think are going to be useful?
Well, number one, I would want a launcher always, you know, because like I want to know how to get my opponent in the air. And honestly, like if you're a beginner and you do a launcher and they don't punish you afterwards with anything,
Yeah.
that's all you have to do. You know? So if they're not punishing it, you could keep doing it. You know.
Yeah.
Right, right.
So there's no reason to start. You know, like you don't have to start small if you could win with something
Okay.
big. You know what I mean?
Well,
So if I could, let's say for example, a Street Fighter, if I could win with just doing a fierce dragon punch all day, I'm gonna do it. You know?
Hey, that's
Yeah.
the Ken player mentality,
There you
right?
go, yeah.
Well, let me ask you one question, and then we'll jump to break really quick, though. But you know,
yeah.
you're saying launcher here. Is that in general the way you can get the most damage? Is by landing a launcher? in
That's
this
one of the
game?
ways. Yeah.
Okay.
There
okay.
are other ways, but that's definitely one of the ways.
Okay. Cool. Cool. But we want to run to a break real quick. We'll run a commercial, and then we'll come back and do some more stuff.
Sounds good.
So, all right, guys, we will be right back.
See ya.
Just hang on a second, guys.
Let's go back over like how to pick a move too.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So welcome everyone to First Attack / Level 3 Focus. We're just combining it all into one,
Basically.
so we can teach everybody how to play Virtua Fighter. Again, this game is coming out this week for $15, and you get this gigantic full game. And it's seriously one of, I mean, I think it's one of the coolest fighting games that's series that's existed. So I have huge respect for this game. I've never learned how to play it, so I'm kind of learning how to play this game.
Gotta learn tonight.
Yeah, I know. I'm learning along with everybody else. And, you know, I kind of did this. Like I said, Sega was kind enough to give me a copy of this game. I didn't want to mess with it too much. So I had all the questions
Yeah.
to ask Gerald that,
Me
you
too.
know, that everybody else on the stream wants to know too.
Yep.
So, kind of going back to where we were choosing moves, I mean, was there like a...
Yeah, so I guess I wanted to talk a little bit more about how to pick a move right at the start. You said that you don't need to immediately pick up every single move that a character has. You just pick some relatively smaller number of moves and kind of run with that at least at the start.
Absolutely. That's honestly, I would recommend not to try to use every single move because you know it's going to be too much to remember and you might get frustrated. You know?
So if that's the case, you said you want to pick a launcher, you want to pick something that controls some certain space on screen. I mean, like what else are the things
strings,
that you would pick?
for example, strings are very, very important in this game.
Okay.
For example, let's say just block for a second, and then I got like this elbow, right? Mm-hmm. But Jean has a follow up, for this, and it's a string, so he could do out of it, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So the second hit is high, and the third hit is full circular.
Gotcha.
Right. So let's say, for example, you block and then you want to counterattack immediately. See?
Oh, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Okay.
So there's actually a window in which you can chain into the punch.
Absolutely.
Right? You can actually like block for a little bit, wait a little bit, and then punch, right?
Absolutely. And then my follow-up string is always going to come out faster than your punch, depending on how much I delay it. So if I delay it too much, you might be able to sneak something in there, but that just means I just change the cadence a little bit and speed it up, and then I'm always going to beat out your move.
Right. But the nice thing is that second hit is high, so if I predict it, I can
low punch.
I can like launch you or something like that, right?
If you get a low punch counter hit, you're at an advantage. You're at a pretty medium advantage where you can force either. It's recommended to force either like a launcher or a throw at that point.
Gotcha.
So if you don't want me to do that second punch, you just low punch and then you put me in trouble.
So do it again.
You gotta block the first one high.
You have to block the first one.
Oh, that's
high.
right.
Yeah. See.
Oh, and I'm +4
Can you
now.
see how it says counter?
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
Try it again.
Yeah. And then I can go for like a throw or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, so I mean, let's say, so like I'll say, okay, I pick this move because this move looks good here.
That's the first move I'd recommend, honestly.
That's
so
good,
right there, right? Yeah. And then punch kick is a standard sequence with every character, right? Is that a good thing to know as well?
It is. It's good for what I really like it for is figuring out guaranteed damage without frames. Let's say, for example, you block my knee, right? And maybe you could get something bigger. Who knows? But the best way to test it is afterwards, just go punch kick.
Right.
You know, because then you know it's at least punch kick counterable.
Right.
If he's able to block it, that means okay, it's not punch counterable.
Right. And punch is generally the fastest
Right,
move in the game.
Is this 13 frames? It looks like.
12. Wolf is 12.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Now, also
The kick was 13.
one thing I want to mention about this game, and I was discovering this a little
Sorry,
bit.
what's that?
One thing I was actually discovering last night is there's a huge window for doing moves. Like, for example, if I wanted to punish something with a standing jab, like in Street Fighter, so let's say something's -3, and I want to punch it with standing jab. I have to hit jab, perfect timing, or I will not punish it. But in this game, it feels like they give you a pretty big window that during block, if you hit a button, it will attack like the first frame possible for you, right?
Absolutely. Like for example, again, you block that. It's 15, right? You got +15.
You hear how early I'm hitting that button there? So do it again.
Oh yeah, look at that.
And I'm holding guard immediately after.
Right.
You know, I just can't guard it.
Right,
It's
right.
impossible.
So it's kind of interesting because I noticed that too, even when you're doing your own moves, like when you're trying to do combos, like when you're linking moves together, you can actually just kind of do like, what is a combo that I had? I don't even remember. Like I could go, like I can hit kick like super early. I don't have to like perfectly time it. The game actually has like a leniency factor to it, which actually, interestingly, everyone talks about how execution heavy this game is. That actually makes it execution friendly. It's like super easy to do, and it kind of takes away the needlessness of these crazy, like, let me do these one frame links and stuff like that, and now you can make sure you get your punishes and combos like without that much problem.
Hey, press punch again. Okay. Yeah, never mind. Just wanted to say something.
No problem. So, you know, I feel like this game, you know, while there is a lot of execution stuff, at the same time they do a lot of things to help, you know, mitigate that kind of crazy finger dexterity execution, you know.
Okay, so
I
we got.
appreciate that.
Yeah, me too. We got strings, and then are there any other kind of moves that you would recommend choosing?
I would recommend
Focus
launcher, some sort of string, a fast mid attack. Let's say, for example, and then maybe like a move to like keep him at distance as well. You know, something to poke at from like this range, right? Maybe this one for Jean.
Okay.
Maybe I think he's.
This was the good one for Wolf, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, here's an interesting thing. We talked about this high, low, mid, whatever like that. You haven't even approached saying like learn a low attack right now.
No, it's. I mean, you could definitely use it in some characters, depending on the character. Some characters' game is to trip you and constantly trip you and trip you and trip you.
Okay.
So I mean, there are definitely some characters like Leon. He's got a huge array of like low moves, and you know the thing is they don't take off a lot of damage, but that character's designed to like constantly keep knocking you down, and then just like get you to stand still or at least fear that so he can get his
Makes
game
sense.
on you.
Right, but so in other words, if I'm Wolf or if I'm Jean here,
Mm-hmm.
can I literally play a whole match and not worry about ever doing a low attack? Because in Street Fighter, all of us Street Fighter players are going to go immediately to this
Yeah.
kick right here, right?
Pretty much,
Because
yeah.
we're going to want to low forward everybody, right?
Yeah.
So is it literally possible for us to play like a whole match, learning the game, and never worry about low kick?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so it's actually not like super fundamental in terms of gameplay.
No, it's generally the way they categorize the low move is it's unblockable on reaction. You're not going to be able to see that. You're not going to be able to see it. I mean, that's just something it's given, and that's why they give you the advantage back, even if you get hit by it. But that's not always the case on, let's say, for example, that's just a normal hit. That means you're not attacking, right?
Right.
There's some moves that if I hit you on a counter hit, right, I will get the advantage.
Gotcha,
I still have to guess that you're going to attack.
Right.
Let's say, for example, Pi has a low sweep, right? She's got a full circular low sweep. That means doesn't matter which direction you evade or if you're standing there, it's going to hit you.
Okay.
Right? You could duck it, you could duck and guard, and then you could beat it, and then you could launch her for it. But at the same time, it's very, very hard to react to, right? So
Right.
you don't have to worry about it because if she hits you with a normal hit, you've got the advantage.
So you could almost let her kick you every
Yeah.
once in a while, and then you can.
Yeah.
Now you go after her.
Exactly.
Pretty much. So really, it's just kind of a nuisance thing, or just to get your little bits of damage to kind of discourage them from moving a lot, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are exceptions. Like Shin has a move which is pretty much one of his bread and butter moves. He goes low kick, high kick, and that starts off a low, and it's really, really hard to beat. You can't really just react to it. You can't say, oh, there it is, and just duck. It's a guess, If you do guess right, it doesn't take off a lot of damage, but if you do guess right, you could punish him really bad.
Right.
So-
It almost feels like they're all like bison slides.
Yeah.
You know?
They are
use them,
bison slides,
use them
yeah.
once in a while just to discourage their
Right.
movement and such. Catch them off guard.
The other time it's really good is like towards the end of the round when everybody's got or the opponents have a sliver.
Right.
It's like you might see like some of this. It's like, oh, I'm gonna duck, and then I do a mid instead. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just to
Okay.
get you to duck.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha. Now here, okay. So we've talked a little. Is there any more like about moves that you want to ask about?
No, actually, we started talking about movement a little bit.
Yeah,
just there.
that's exactly what I.
Okay,
so-
cool. So let's talk about movement then in this game.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so obviously you can forward dash, back dash. Now, interestingly, if you tap up or tap down, you instantly sidestep, right? In most 3D games in history of like 2D players going and playing these games, sidestepping always feels like a gimmick. It doesn't really come into play, sometimes. But that's actually not true in this game, right? Sidestep is like super important.
It's
in this
very
game.
important. It's definitely very important.
Okay.
And during an evade, you can be thrown out of it, right?
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
if let's say you go like mid punch, and then try to evade after that. Try it again. Right. So if I go ahead, see, I could throw you if you try to do it. So
gotcha.
it's not like unbeatable, but
It's almost like a dodge, like
It
a
is.
like a CVS2 roll. You can throw them out of it, or KOF roll, I should say, to be more modern. Okay.
So I mean that's basically it's a trade-off rather than blocking. If you don't like to block, I mean sometimes like some of the characters I play, I like to try to see how much I could get away with, without having to block. So I'll use evades a lot, or I'll use like a technique called fuzzy guard a lot,
Right.
and then I'll just play like a blitz game and only block when I really, really need to.
Now that is called abare, right?
It's not necessarily called abare. It's
Okay.
abare is basically.
So there's two terms that I keep hearing when
Okay.
people talk about Virtua Fighter,
Okay.
which is abare and moro, right?
Moral,
Moral.
like you got morals.
Oh, okay.
Or
So
you
it's
don't.
like morals.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's literally abare is like rush down, and moro is more like defensive,
Well,
right?
it's more like this. Let's say, for example, you attack out of a disadvantage. Let's say, for example, just go down towards and punch.
Oh, down towards and punch.
Yeah. And then
one?
just keep doing it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's a body because you're not paying attention to like who's got advantage or disadvantage. You're just trying to get up in there. It's
right.
like I don't care.
Right.
And it's a valid strategy. I mean, that is a very, very big part of Virtua Fighter. I mean, it's a turn-based game. right? So I mean, generally, like the rule is like, okay, when my attack, I mean, there are exceptions, obviously, but when my attack is blocked, then it's your turn, it's your advantage, you know, and then you can hit me back, right? You can hit me. But if I hit you with the move, then I can hit you again.
Right.
So it's turn-based, but at the same time, you don't always want to follow the rules.
Right.
Because you want to actually, I would recommend to, like, whenever you get away with it, try to bend the rules, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you want to
Yeah.
you want to steal a turn, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want to.
I never thought about it like that. I think
Yeah,
that's
what it is.
It's really interesting because that was one
Really
of the first things that you told me when we were chatting,
Right.
that the game is very turn-based. And
I can see that, yeah.
as soon
Never
as
thought
you
about it.
said that, I remember I watched a match, and then at the Virtua Fighter launch party, you can just see it. You can literally see someone attack block, and then you have to respect the opponent attacking you back.
Right.
And if you successfully block that, and so it kind of goes back and forth, but then it's that whole concept now where if you know the opponent's going to respect you and block,
Yeah.
you can go for a slower move that has a better chance of hitting and
Yeah.
do more damage. But then that gives the opponent the chance to be more abare and just keep attacking, and that's where that's like the flow of the game. And I think that's a huge important thing to understand coming from 2D to this game is that you have to understand this flow.
I
Right?
gotta say, I'm considerably more hyped now than I was 2 minutes ago. That sounds really interesting to me.
Not just that, but you know, it's like, honestly, that's the thrill of, like, you know, just seeing how many turns you could steal, you know?
Yeah,
I love it. I mean,
that sounds really
personally,
fun.
if you watched my stream earlier with Hans, that's all I was doing. I was just trying to steal that turn back, you know?
Right,
Yeah.
And then basically, if I I'll just give you a quick example. This is, like, you know, pretty advanced stuff, but you know, if I'm just like attacking, you know, if you hit me back, I'm looking for the times when I hit you here. I'm gonna see what kind of reaction that I'm gonna get from you, right?
Right.
Are you the kind of guy that is just gonna stand there and block more, or if you're gonna try to hit me back, right? So if you hit me back, I'm gonna try to, like, evade to get the
gotcha,
advantage, right?
gotcha.
So I'm poking you just to, like, you know, get the advantage, you know, and then scare you into attacking
Right,
me, so
right.
I could evade you, and then, you know, then punish with something
Gotcha.
bigger.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
that's a basic flow.
Well, here's a good question. Like, let's say you start doing that to me. Like, just start
Right.
rushing me down right now. And I'm just, like, trying to do this. Now, obviously, I'm going to get beat up here pretty bad, okay? So my question is, in general, what is my strategy once I mean, obviously, something like Street Fighter 4, it's called backdash, you know, because there's invincibility.
Dragon
Obviously,
punch
there's a way to
or
punch,
whatever,
or mash dragon punch. In Marvel, you got push block and super jump away.
Right.
You know, in King of Fighters, you can try to roll away or something like that. So there's always these very obvious defensive tactics to go into. So if I go online, I'm gonna go play Virtua Fighter online, and I run into you, and I have no idea who you are, and you just start rushing me down. What's generally the safest thing to do to kind of get out of the situation?
Okay, before we get into that, I just want to show you one thing real quick, which is an exception to the rule, and it's one of the most important things in Virtua Fighter. You know, we just talked about advantage and disadvantage, and if, like, my move is blocked, you get advantage. But the main exception to that rule is a standing punch. If you do a standing punch and I block it, look, even though I blocked it, you have the
I'm
advantage.
+2.
Yeah, exactly. So this means, like, for example, if I just keep doing this, I'm baiting you to, like, you know, get some sort of reaction. You can't elbow in there. You can't punch.
right.
You can't elbow. Yeah.
Help!
So
Except the duck, I guess. I mean,
Duck
those are all
punch.
highs, right?
yeah, low punch. Low punch
Right.
will beat the
Gotcha,
high.
gotcha.
So once you think I'm coming in, the next one, you just do one. You just do one and then go for, like, either a big move or a throw.
Right, but that's really important then, because then if they're trying to block your mid attacks and I walk up and, whoops, I'm sorry, if I try to walk up and then get a punch, now I have 2 frames of advantage, so now it's my game right now, right?
Right.
So if I ever get you to block this move, now I've got
Exactly.
the advantage to go and get the games to mix up, right?
So at a higher level, you'll see this a lot. I mean, it's just basically forcing the guy to block this, you know,
Right.
or maybe other ways to get advantage. But that's definitely a good one to start with.
Now, here's a question, just from an execution standpoint. You know, I have towards punch, right? I tried to dash and just standing punch, right? How do I do that technically? You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I try to do that and I come out with a middle punch. So,
Just tap.
sorry.
That's okay. Tap guard first.
Oh, okay.
And what I like to do,
Oh, wow, interesting.
what I like to do anytime I'm not tapping punch, this is also important to reset like your strings. So I'm going punch and then I tap guard after it. So I'm always, if I'm not hitting punch, I'm going back to like holding guard.
Wait, why is that?
Because number one, it'll reset your punches. It'll like, let's say for example, I'm doing string, it'll reset the string. So I could like start over.
Because
So,
I have
Makes
punch,
sense.
punch, right? So if I do punch guard, it'll automatically.
exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
so okay, gotcha. So if I don't hit guard in between, I'm gonna come out with
Right.
my string.
Yeah.
But if I hit guard, punch, and then punch, then I can
Yeah.
actually do 2 punches in a row. Gotcha.
Exactly, and that's important for example, let's say one common thing you might see, even just like in beginner play or advanced play, you see it a lot, is just jab and then elbow, just punch, elbow. Because no matter what, if I think you're going to try to low punch, let's say for example, you're going to try to low punch there.
Right.
See, I'm going to beat you with an elbow.
Oh, because you said those
Yeah.
mid attacks always beat
Exactly,
it, right?
yeah.
Right.
So I'm forcing you to do this, and when I think you're going to low punch, that's when I'm going to elbow.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So that's just the basic stuff and of like close range game.
Right.
Okay.
Again,
So-
it's pretty fast. So I mean, if you don't get it on the first try, you can't see every single counter. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it because that's just normal. I mean, it takes time to get used to the game.
Right.
So I mean, if you're not comfortable fighting that close, just fight from like back here with like other moves. But if you get close, it's good to know like, okay, I'm close. First thing I like to do when I'm that close is try to force you to block this.
Right. Now, like I said, once you start getting into this mix-up here, remember I was asking, like, what's the general defensive strategy? How am I going to get away from this so that I just don't get bodied by this for free?
There are a couple ways. One way is to, again, like I said, if I think you're going to low punch, if I think you're going to high punch again, I'll low punch to
Right.
get the advantage back. Or I could just do like a quick duck. If you're not hitting me, with that, I get the advantage. And you whiff, I have the advantage.
Right.
Oh, gotcha,
You know what I mean?
gotcha.
So if-
even if you punch over my head,
Yeah.
then I can do something to counter. Right?
Exactly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Are there wall rising moves?
Yeah, there are. It depends on the character. Not everybody's got them.
Wolf doesn't have
Wolf
one,
doesn't. Jean doesn't.
Okay.
Pai does. Lao does. A couple of characters do.
Yeah, so while rising move obviously is if you're crouching and if you let go and hit a button.
Like as you're standing up, I
Yeah,
guess.
it
Yeah.
triggers a different move. Gotcha. Right.
So generally, the two defenses I would start with is, just, a quick duck, a quick bob. Like if somebody's trying to do this to you, either a quick bob or like, and then just trying to get that low punch.
Right.
But at the same time, watch out for that mid because that's what they really want.
So low punch is a very important move, and high punch are
It
both
is
super
yeah.
important.
They're very, very important.
Now, here's another question, and this kind of based just because we talked a little bit about this before. You were saying like hit him with an elbow, like with Jean, right?
Right.
Technically, every character has something that is an elbow,
Yeah,
right?
every character does.
Right. So, I mean, is this count as my elbow?
No,
or
it's down towards and punch.
that counts as my elbow.
And
Okay.
you could tell elbow class moves, real elbow class moves by the execution. If you look at the execution, it's at 14. So that means if I'm +2, if you hit me, I'm +2. You're +2 now.
Right.
Then afterwards, if you do that, elbow immediately, that means you're going to beat my high punch. You're going to beat my low punch. You're going to beat my mid.
Right, because
So-
the math is perfectly
Exactly.
And
Interesting.
see, that's the interesting thing is, so that's one of the myths that I always ran into is, obviously for a 3D game, you're always like, frames, oh my god, I need to memorize all these frames. And what the question I asked you was, don't I have to memorize Jeffrey's knee and Jackie's knee and Sarah's knee and frame count and everything and know how to punish each one? And you actually blew my mind because you said they're all the same, right?
Yeah, there are common denominators in this game. So, for example, we'll talk about fuzzy guarding later, but generally, pretty much every elbow in the game you can fuzzy guard after. So it's a way to like not get sucked into like a mix up of mid and a throw.
Right.
It's a way to get out of that, like basically an option select to get out of that. Launchers again, they're generally 17 frames, not all of them, but. For example, and the disadvantage on that, if it's guarded, is generally at 15.
So block real quick, so if I do mine, yeah,
Yeah.
same thing.
Exactly. See.
Huh, that's interesting. So basically, as long as you know what the launcher is, the elbow is, or the knee is of your opponent,
Right.
you generally know what the advantage and disadvantage is.
Yeah, for the most part.
Interesting, okay.
There are a couple
Right.
exceptions, but I mean, let's say for example, Wolf's got after that, instead of doing PK, do back and punch. Guard and do back and punch. See, that will.
Oh, because it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah. So, and you could. I think there's something else. I'm not exactly sure, but you could get some. You could get more than just PK. You know,
Right,
if you block that. Wolf, obviously, you know, making him guess a throw is pretty huge because your throw will start before I could get an attack out. You know, because I'm at a frame. I'm at a high disadvantage. So there's no way even a punch will come out before your throw starts.
Right. So, okay, so here's a question then. So, how fast are throws in general in this game?
Generally 10 frames.
Oh, so throws are actually
Oh,
the fastest
really?
move in the game then.
They are, yeah.
So they're the fastest punish in the game.
There are some exceptions. I believe that one, Wolf's PG, is actually 9 frames. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
And then his Burning Hammer, which is his big throw, it's a 100-point throw,
Oh, right.
is 14 frames.
Okay, so it's
So,
slower than
yeah,
the
he
throw.
actually has a special animation where he, like, lunges out.
Is that it?
No,
it's not.
hold down. We'll hold down and then roll to, there it is. Yeah. And I'll say 100.
Wait, how much life does each character have?
220.
Is it standard? Everybody
Yeah,
has it?
everybody's
Okay.
got 220.
Okay. Now, here's the question. I set the computer to block and then counter with a throw. And the interesting thing I found out was even with a move such as, you know, this one, which is, what, like minus... No, was it...
Your block?
Oops.
Oops.
Sorry.
It's okay. So I think this move is minus 15.
Yep.
When the computer threw me, I could still tech it.
Yeah, you could definitely throw escape. You know, that's a valid option.
Okay.
You could throw escape, but if he guesses a throw you didn't try to do, then let's say for example, if you try to, I try to throw you with forward, right? And because I know it's like, oh, you're gonna knee, and I just know I'm gonna just throw you with the Burning Hammer, right? If he escapes forward, he's gonna break your throw,
Right.
even though you waited to block his knee.
So in other words, because the interesting thing about Street Fighter is that when you are in delay and you get thrown, you cannot tech.
You can in this game.
So in this game, no matter what, if you get thrown, you can escape it.
Any time of the day, you know, it does not matter. There's guaranteed you have a chance to get out.
Okay.
There are some throws which aren't escapable. Those are just generally reserved for mostly the wrestler characters. But for the most part, the standard throws, and we should probably talk about that a little bit now.
Yeah.
There's each throw ends with a direction, either ends with back, or ends with forward, or it's just neutral as it is.
Right.
So for example, punch plus guard, that's punch plus guard throw. And now I go, this one is forward, punch plus guard, right? And then back, I think it's back, punch plus guard, right? So the animations are different and the damage is different, but it's basically 3 choices, you know, rock, scissors, paper to how you escape it. So if I throw you with, let's say for example, I'm gonna just jab and then throw with PG, right? So see, you escaped it because you pressed PG.
And you get advantage when you escape a throw. Huh?
Yeah, I think most situations, you know, the person who escapes gets advantage. Not always. And the other thing is, in the previous Virtua Fighter games, you actually had to time when you did the escapes.
Right.
So, let's say, for example, if like I had a roughly, I think maybe like a 20 frame window to like press PG at the same time the opponent's pressing PG. Or let's say if he was throwing me with forward, I had to press forward in PG and I had that 20 frame window.
Right.
But what's different in Final Showdown is there's a new technique called guard throw escape or easy throw escape or yutori or whatever you want to call it. But basically what that does is actually, can you put the controls on the screen?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you can do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we should have done that this whole time.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. So here, do this. Hold guard first, and then hold P. And then now, you know, James is at neutral, and if I try to throw with PG, he automatically escapes it. And reset it. Do it again.
Okay.
So hold guard first, and then hold P. And now watch. I do a high or mid attack. He blocks everything. And we could do this for, you know, till tomorrow. It doesn't matter. And then as soon as I try to throw with PG, he automatically escapes it.
Will it still escape now? I mean, can you survive multiple throw escapes?
I think you have to reset it. So basically, you just let go of guard and then tap. I mean, not reset it like that, but just let go of guard.
Do it. Try throwing me, and I'll try throwing me again.
Oh,
Oh no! It just holds on to
I
it.
learned something. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I thought you had to actually reset. But,
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. I'm even learning stuff on this show.
There you go.
So,
So-
are the throws react-toable? Like in Tekken, you can like study up and see like which one is coming from which side, and you can tech because they'll grab with one hand or the other. You know what I mean?
Side throws. If I get to your side and throw you from there, there are special throws, and those are reactable. Seeing which direction your opponent's going to come out on, and you either do left or right, or front or back, whatever you want to call it. But for the most part, the throw escapes, they're guesses. You know, and the guesses, you should base your guesses on what you think the opponent's going to use. For example, let's say like
with Wolf.
yeah, with Wolf, I'm scared of the burning hammer, right?
Well, you're
Or
scared
the
of
giant
this,
swing.
the giant swing, which does a ton of damage,
Yeah.
and then, like you said, the burning hammer.
Right, exactly.
Right, and both of those end with forward.
Yeah, both of those end with forward. So
pretty sick.
I'm just holding guard. Can you bring my? I don't think you can.
I don't think I can show you
That's
this,
okay.
but yeah.
Wait.
That's
Oh,
okay.
okay.
But just so you know, I'm holding guard. I hold guard first, and then I hold forward and punch. And then now, when he throws me with that throw, I automatically escape it.
Oh, so it even works for those
Yeah.
Yeah,
those throws.
absolutely.
and even giant swing.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
So that's where the mind games come in, right?
Absolutely.
So with Wolf, you're scared of giant swing and burning throw. So I will want to throw with back throws more often.
Yeah. Or punch plus guard.
Now, do you have to input the direction before you press punch in order to break that direction's throw, or can you press G then P and then go like this? With the
That will
stick?
not work.
Okay.
You'll
that's good.
actually reduce your chances of like escaping anything. I think if it's confused, you'll automatically get the throw.
But
no
you
matter
can do this though. Like I can do this and go back and forth and then let go, and I'll still be able to tech like
Yes.
this, right?
But now, while you're still holding that, if you then hold toward, can you now tech all toward
yes.
throws?
What. Oh, I'm sorry. That was neutral.
Oh, okay. So let's do that again. So neutral throw me again. Now I'm holding forward. Now do a forward throw, and yes, I'll take
Okay,
it.
cool.
So,
Okay.
So as long as I'm holding this, as long as I leave the joystick in the right position,
Yeah.
then I can tech it, right?
Right.
But you get blown up low.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. The other thing is, I would really recommend this for beginners. So, like, if the guy's moving around really fast and he's just doing all this crazy dashing and punch cancels and like just doing all this stuff, just stand there, hold guard, and then hold the direction he's going to throw you with, and you're going to beat most of the stuff he's doing.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So that's just my advice. And if you're starting in this game and you get scared for a second, like Wolf's just going crazy, he's coming at you. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna hold there. I'm gonna just hold forward and punch and guard.
Oh, I did neutral throw.
And he
there,
didn't,
yeah.
and then he's gonna do neutral, of course.
Right.
So
So, in other words, if I try to do something crazy like and then try
Yeah,
to go
automatically
this, and
escapes,
then you
yeah.
get out of there.
So
Gotcha.
the two ways to get out of this are to either throw in the direction where he's not holding, or to go low. Is that right?
No, you've got, like I said, there's either forward or back or neutral. So
right,
you got
So it's either guess the direction that he's not holding on the stick,
Right.
Or do a low attack.
well, the low attacks generally.
So how do I break you from holding this defense,
Right.
basically?
Well, you could. That gets into moves that have advantage or strings. So, for example, if I have a move, let's say, for example, like Pi or Lao, I got a string, and I think you're just going to sit here and do this. Well, I'm just going to put you in a string and force you to guess this whole sequence.
Right.
You
And
know?
then I noticed that
Oh, I see.
Wolf had, no, was it that? Was
That
it?
will work too. That's totally valid. It's back, forward, punch. And that's a guard break. Or a stagger, rather.
Right. It doesn't do any damage,
Yeah.
but now you have to shake out, or I
Exactly.
can punish you. Right?
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
interesting. Okay.
So,
So
and
they're
then,
like unblockable, sort of.
Now, can you
in a
always
sense.
shake out in time in that
Yeah.
situation?
yeah, I mean, there's some staggers that are really difficult. I didn't shake out that time, but if you want, I can.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
There are some throws. Let's say, for example, those are the standard throw directions. Wolf's got up towards punch plus guard. That's not escapable.
Right, all right. I'm gonna play Wolf. I just got my dude. Yeah. I knew I had the right guy.
Cool,
So-
nice. So that's actually, oh wow, that's really good,
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly. And it's only
holy
50
crap.
points, I think. But at the same time, it's like if you got this guy that's just miraculous at guessing, every direction you're gonna do, you just do that.
That's awesome.
And he's definitely not gonna guess that.
Right. Now, also another thing, we talked about how you could always crouch throws, right?
Right.
Is it only Wolf and Jeffrey that have throws specifically on crouching characters?
Pi does. Aoi does.
Hide? That
yeah.
seems weird.
No,
Chun-Li.
it's important for her wake up games.
Okay, gotcha.
She's got without that she'd have very very weak wake up games. So
okay.
she has to have that low throw.
So crouch really quick.
Yep.
So I can,
Is that what he's like down toward throw
Yes,
that
down
you're doing?
toward.
Okay.
So you cannot tech a crouch throw then, right?
Sure you can.
Oh, you can?
You-
Yeah.
But you can't do the.
You can't do the special throw escape. I'm pretty sure.
okay.
Right? Yeah, you can. You can hold it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you
okay.
are holding it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
do down
okay.
towards again. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I
Okay,
could hold
okay.
down as well.
So
Let's say
if I
if you
do
do down.
So it's
and I do
basically
down
turns
back.
into same three mix-ups then.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's basically again the thing is though, I mean if you're ducking, all you have to do is a mid
Right.
because
Right,
I'm still ducking.
Right.
I'm not.
Right,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So let's go to a break.
Oh yeah, okay, sorry.
No, that's cool. And we'll be back with more Virtua Fighter after this.
All right, cool.